this year, and so that I quote those numbers not to give you these sales statistics of it, but to tell you that I'm not alone. That you're not looking at a fringe American. This is actually somebody who I believe is in the majority. That the majority of Americans are filled with discontent right now, don't like what's going on, don't want a war with Iraq, did not elect the man who sits in the White House, go down the whole list. And I think that this is that this is, I don't know if that answers your question, but I just
no, it might be something a little bit. Andy.
I'm glad that you're not preaching to the converted, but I'm sure you take no pleasure from the fact that the film comes out at a time when we saw the climate of fear palpably demonstrated in America with the Beltway sniper.
With the sniper, yeah.
But what do you hope people will take from the film once they've seen it? That they will.
What do I hope that people take from the film? No, honestly, my first hope is that they leave the theater thinking, "Wow, we just saw a great movie." I really, honestly, I set out to make a film that I would like to go see, and that I would hope that you would want to go see. And I think these days, I mean, the guy from Film 2000 was just asking me in there, "What's your favorite film this year?" I couldn't think of a film that I couldn't think of a film. I couldn't think of a great film I saw this year. I mean, it's just like, that's sad. What has happened in the last few years? I just, so I feel as a filmmaker that it's enough of a contribution. This is the.
This is, I mean, it's, if you like, advocacy journalism, what you've done in this film.
Yeah, but I don't. But I'm not setting out to do that. That's not my main.
No, but I mean, if people don't take anything away from it other than the fact they enjoy the film, it's almost.
Well, you're speaking to.
It's almost a pointless exercise.
Right, but you're speaking to an American who has extremely low expectations of where, I mean, you have to, you know what I'm saying? I know it's different here in other places, and but my goal is like if 10% leave the theater in America thinking about what I've just said, I've scored a huge victory. And if 5% of them will do something, maybe something will happen. I have to keep them low, otherwise I would just give up with utter despair. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think one of the best moments of the film is when Kmart received your expectation.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, you can see the look on my face. It's like, I'm so used to the rejection, and Kmart, is suddenly giving me more than what I actually asked for, and I have to ask her to repeat it because I can't believe what I just heard. I've suffered this rejection since since high school actually, but. That's another movie.
Hi, I'm Judith from Bookmarks Bookshop, and we've had obviously tremendous sales with your book and everything, but I'm interested in what you think about the popularity of the movie and your book. What does it say about what's going on in American society today? Because we're so often told it's all the flag waving and they believe the simplicity about there's evildoers in the world and there's good and America has to go out and fix everything and bomb Iraq and everything. But obviously what's going on is something much more complex than that. And I'm just interested in what you think it shows because it's been phenomenal.
Right, right, yeah. I don't know how well this is reported in the media over here, but there are millions and millions of people who, will say the same things I'll say here. I'm not alone in this. I don't know how to, express that other than you can see from how well the movie's doing in the United States, how well the book is done, that it's an indication of something going on out there, and I hope that that people know that. I just.
Are you optimistic yourself
about what? About
what's going on and the feeling of the challenge to Bush and the war and everything.
I mean, will that be reflected, for instance, in the elections today?
Well, I hope so. That's my hope. I hope that Bush gets his comeuppance by the end of this evening. But people are filled with so much despair that it paralyzes them, and they don't go out and vote. Plus, we have no opposition party. We have another corporate party called the Democratic Party that's a nicer version of the Republican Party, but it's the only way. If you wanted to whack Bush today, the only way you could do that would be to vote for the Democrats today. And I've encouraged people to try and find progressive Democrats that they can vote for, so that he shouldn't have the House and the Senate in his control for the next 2 years. That's one way to kind of stymie him a bit.
Yes. Sorry, Jemai. This is particularly sort of an American film, and it's quite a revelation is in it really for the British viewer when it comes to this film, except for it being just a documentary? You know what I mean?
What do you mean by that?
Well, it becomes more of a study, or, you know, a side. If you're an American watching this film,
Yes. What is it for you as a Brit?
yeah, I mean, you're an American watching the film, and you
See
go
that-
there and it's
well-
about your life, and it's about the society around
Does
you.
it have lessons for
Watching
us?
the film,
Oh.
It's more of a study of Americans. You get 5 minutes.
I'm much more hopeful about this film in terms of a British audience, and the book too, I mean, I think because I think there's hope for you. I don't know if there's hope for us. I don't know. Honestly, I wish I could be more optimistic about our chances, but you've only started to go down our road, and this film should be a warning to the British public. You know, if you want to end up like this, keep doing what you're doing. Keep taking away your social services. Start putting women on a bus so they can go on an 80-mile round trip to work off their welfare. Make it harder for them. Make their lives more miserable than they already are. More acts of state-sponsored violence and terrorism against your poor. You keep doing that, you will have, as you've started to have, a more violent society, more crime, more fear. You don't feel as safe as you felt 10 or 20 years ago. That's the result of Thatcher and Major, and now the kinder, gentler version, you know, of it through Blair, right? That's why have you? This is the part I can't figure out. Why have you done this to yourself? You had this British ethic, you had this thing that this sort of, you know, that said, you know, for you know whatever reason, with all of its flaws and all of its kind of weird nuttiness, you all believe that you're in the same boat. You all believe that you're British. You all have had this belief since you were born that you know what, if one of us is hurting, we're all hurting. If one of us needs a doctor, that person should get a doctor. Imagine that you think if somebody gets sick, they should get help. What an odd, to an American, this is like, what a weird concept. You believe if somebody loses their job, they should get some assistance. They should be helped. There should be a safety net. That's been your ethic, right? And it gave you, I think, a better society. You had a value on education. You didn't think it would be funny if the leader of the country wanted to bomb another country, but he couldn't find it on a map. You wouldn't, yeah, you're laughing, but you wouldn't. You know, I mean, that's, you know, you valued that. You had a different way of life. And then you decided to start snipping away at your social safety net. You started to beat up on your poor. You started to do these things that you started to do it like the Americans do it. Why would you do that? Why would you take a crap on yourselves? Why would you debase the structure, the very soul of your society? Why would you, I mean, you already had it. You had it good. Why would you over the last 20 years go down this road to where you look more and more and more like us? I hope this film, I'm very excited about the film being released here, because I hope that the British audiences, in addition to having 2 hours of seeing a good film and laughing and, you know, a good night out, will leave the theater going, well, we're starting to kind of look like that, aren't we? We don't want to go down that road.
Phil?
Well, you just about answered the question I was going to ask, but I wanted to congratulate you for giving Michael Portillo that run for his money on the program. The overall question was, did you have a take on British politics? And second, Michael, have you ever actually considered just making that bridge journey up in sticks and living in Canada?
Well, I mean, didn't you feel that after the channel after the BBC show yesterday? I don't know if anybody heard it or not. It's it was the start of the week show. I read in the paper this morning. He went directly from the show and went and challenged his own leadership and against why they weren't, you know. Oh, I laid my hands on Mr. Portillo. You didn't see that on the radio. But we held hands. I looked into his eyes. I said, Michael, go forth to Parliament and let the gay people have children. And thus he did. My wife, we were reading the paper this morning, going, what happened in there? It was like, was this guy has some kind of conversion? He's like, no, he's not. He's for gay rights. It's like, listen, he liked the film. He told, like a Tory guy, told people to go see this movie. I was like kind of getting offended. Like,